Hello everybody, Revenov back at it again with another video for you. What have I got for you guys today? Well, not a birthday present, would you actually believe it? This time around I actually wanted to get a hold on creating a fully illustrated scene where my characters could live in. While I'm happy with how the background turned out, seems like I can't shake off how out of place Corvin looks by the end of it. I think it might have to do with my forever conflicting feelings on how to color skin when different colors of light surround you, more specifically in a place like this. I remember kicking myself for this, but it was still fun nonetheless to play around and see where all the splashes of color were leading. I've also always wanted to do a beach scene in particular. The shiny, vast, crystalline blue ocean has always been one of many serene wonders of the world that I wanted to touch on. I figured a beautiful sunny day at the beach matched perfectly with Corvin's equally sunny disposition, and incorporating some red helped in making him stand out amidst the blue. Needless to say that I've shot myself in the foot with this one though. Notice later how many bloody times I color his pants and shoes. I guess the real trouble here was actually with the folds of the jacket. I've tried so many times to look for people wearing baggy jackets on the internet, it's not even funny. Let me tell you, there were a lot, alright, but not the exact pose and angle that I was looking for. My brain just doesn't have that level of 3D thinking yet to achieve it on my own, so at the end of it all, I resorted to getting my little brother in on a photo shoot. I shot super bright lights at his face and made him stand very awkwardly for my reference, but thanks anyways, Matt. Better from life, I suppose, but I guess it worked out in the end. Here's the next biggest problem. Background? Delish. I had his clothes down. It's alright. Shading? Sure. Could use some work, but it's okay. But what about his face? The sun's coming down, and you know that the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. It's a general rule, but I do follow it. Also, his face is pretty small, so where does this all leave me in terms of the shading? I had absolutely no clue. With the light from above, his face was just completely dark and shielded off from any light to provide sufficient facial differentiation. I mean, I had to give him eyes, but it was too small to even see from afar, and it looked like little blotches unless you zoomed in, which I've already worked out that not a lot of people usually will do anyway. There's also no use putting so much detail in rendering it out either, since, well, you won't see it. I resorted to making his eyes glow a little to make it more noticeable. He is a bishop. That's another custom race, by the way, so I could get away with that. Anyway, the shadows on him look pretty monotone too compared to how vibrant the sky had turned out. I guess at that point I was kind of just grasping at straws, and I tried to take the color out of the sky into the shadows to make it work. I ended up spending like 10 million years on this thing, but hey, next time I should just straight up consult an anime beach scene and take all the bloody colors from there instead of having to make my guesses. Pre-planning, I suppose, is indeed needed. I need to get into the habit of thumbnail drafting too. You know, making a super quick piece on a tiny canvas to retain your vision. See if the overall composition works and, you know, if the color flows through well. Okay, complicated artistic technicalities aside, let's look into the kind of person that Corvin is, since I did promise I'd talk more about my best friend's characters in the last video. This is Corvin Lanzino, grandson to Liedrich, Kaita, and Irenia, a bishop. This usually means healer in this case, and he also is the tank of the team. He could easily bully anyone really, but he's a pushover, and while he has some people like his cousin who scolds him about this, he's an especially self-aware pushover for someone in particular. An optimist, a medic buff, and the most level-headed of the group. Probably the most mentally stable. Well, healthy of the bunch. Oh, did I mention that he also has the energy reservoir of a nuclear power plant? You cannot outstamina this man, I'm serious. I don't know who decided that balance in characters must exist, but apparently it just doesn't with Corvin. I guess that's where his personality kicks in. Oh, but Rev, does that mean he's just your stereotypical overpowered nice guy? Yes and no. He has human flaws, you know. He can't control all of that strength in the beginning. His upbringing of having to be responsible of himself so early in life kind of puts bars in certain parts of his emotional maturity. Can you also imagine what happened when he displayed his powers uncontrollably as a child? There's also the flaw of being a pushover. It hurt him a lot too in that process of always having to give way to someone, and that all comes into play in the story. In any case, it's not about what he has now, but how he deals with the drawbacks of strength. Can all those muscles alone really build good, trusting relationships he wants? Aside from base aesthetics, communicative skill and personality is still king in a lot of ways, so, we'll see. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys for now. I think I've said too much. You'll for sure see him around in my future pieces, so stay tuned. Revenov